Humans have been fascinated by the idea of otherworldly beings having visited us since the beginning of our existence. Though it wasn't until the last couple centuries that we really thought about it being organic life from other planets. Before that, it was mostly in the realm of spiritual or religious beings. There are so many stories throughout history claiming to have witnessed these otherworldly beings coming down upon the Earth. Stories of giants, ghosts, mythical creatures, and strange sky phenomena have become ingrained into our history. But what if, now yes, I am about to pull an Ancient Aliens here, what if those beings weren't from the realm of the metaphysical, but rather the extraterrestrial? Now alright, I know that sounds crazy, and it's hard to not make this sound like some big joke, but hear me out. In this video, I'm going to go through some stories of the medieval and Renaissance era that some people have theorized could be related to alien encounters. Now, most of them do have reasonable explanations behind them, or could just straight up be fake, but I think it's interesting to dissect how we as modern humans,
you bad girl,
view these fantastical stories compared to how our ancestors did. Or maybe your ancestors are geniuses and knew exactly what was going on. I didn't mean to offend you. I also want to say, on the topic of offending people, I am going to try to avoid folk tales or stories from religious texts, as that could get kind of controversial, and low-key, as much as I like engagement bait, I don't really think that's the best way to do it. Without further ado, sit back, get a friend, grab some Hare's kettle-cooked potato chips, and let's dive in.
Let's see what's on.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
In the morning of April 14th, 1561, at daybreak between 4 and 5 on the small clock, a dreadful apparition occurred on the sun. Those are the opening words to a 1561 news article broadsheet written by Hans Glaser, a publisher from the former Holy Roman Empire. The broadsheet comes alongside this illustration depicting said event. Glaser goes on to describe in this article a strange phenomenon occurring in the sky above Nuremberg that he writes as being like some sort of battle between lights and objects around the sun until a large black spear-shaped object appears. It's very strange to say the least, though this isn't the only sky phenomenon that the Holy Roman Empire experienced. Just 5 years later, in the summer of 1566, a similar broadsheet was written in Basel, Switzerland by Samuel Coxius? I don't know.
Coxius.
Describing multiple separate sky phenomena. 2 from July describing the sun and moon to have changed appearance to a blood red color with the sun losing its light. Then a few weeks later in August, large black spheres are seen fighting in front of the sun, similar to the one from 1561. In both of these accounts, the objects are described to be destroyed or fall from the sky in some way. The ones from Nuremberg are said to have fallen from the sun upon the earth as if they all burned. And the ones from Basel turn a fiery red color before crumbling and extinguishing. There are a few theories that attempt to explain what was described in these broadsheets. The people at the time obviously thought it was some sort of message by God, with Glaser writing, "We have seen shortly, one after another, many kinds of signs on the heaven which are sent to us by the Almighty God." Obviously, being included in this video, many modern folks see this as some alien encounter or a battle between UFOs in the sky. And honestly, I can see why. It sounds almost like something out of a sci-fi movie. That big spear appearing makes me think of a Star Destroyer from Star Wars coming in at the end of battles. But don't let me geek out too much, as there is a possible, more reasonable explanation involving an explained phenomenon known as sundogs. Sundogs, or parhelions, are an optical phenomenon that appear as two spots of light on both sides of the sun, most prominent when the sun is on the horizon. I'm not going to dive too much into how they work because I know y'all are here for the aliens, but it's important to point out because some of these aerial sightings could be explained by optical phenomena. The 1561 sighting occurred at 4 or 5 in the morning, right when the sun rises. Perfect time for a sundog. There are two small problems with this theory though, one of which being that Europe already kinda knew about sundogs before the sightings over Nuremberg and Basel. In fact, in 1535, a painting by Urban Larsson, or Urban the Painter, was made depicting the sundogs phenomenon in the skies over Stockholm, Sweden. So people at the time did know what sundogs were, except this isn't that painting. The original painting by Urban, called Vadersolstavlan, was lost and has been missing since. Not much is known about it aside from this copy by Jacob Elbfass. Not much is known about the original artist Urban Larsson either. I mean, there are only a few sources about Urban himself, but a bunch about the painting. So maybe this painting was originally depicting an alien spacecraft, but they didn't like it, so he was silenced. Nah, I'm kidding.
I'm joking.
But seriously, sundogs and other optical phenomena like looming mirages could offer good explanations as to what was seen over Basel and Nuremberg, and a lot of other places, honestly. It's entirely possible that Glaser and Kochus, I think, just didn't know of these phenomena and described what they saw the best they could. The other problem with this theory, though, is that there is so much described in the 1561 broadsheet that sundogs seem to only offer a small explanation for. Like, what was that black spear and why did they seem to crash down onto Earth? There was one theory that the 1561 sighting was fireworks, which does make sense for the colors, and apparently, according to this source, there was a pyrotechnic school in Nuremberg at the time. I mean, if it was aliens and they did crash, where the hell is the wreckage? Oh, right, the government took it, or whatever.
The pillar, you can see this dude who's extremely tall in comparison to everybody else. And I noticed him just watching me.
If you ever find yourself hiking the Santa Lucia Mountains, you may catch a glimpse of something watching you in the distance. Something dark. Something of a dark watcher.
He said it!
California's Dark Watchers, or Los Vigilantes Oscuros, are strange entities that have been seen by the people of California since the time of Spanish settlers. Their appearance is described as being tall and dark, sometimes wearing a rimmed hat or holding a walking stick. They're never seen doing anything aside from watching people from the tops of mountains. All attempts to get close to them have resulted in them simply vanishing. Some people have linked the sightings of Dark Watchers with the sightings of UFOs in the US Southwest. As you may know, the US is kinda known for its obsession with aliens and UFOs, with it being the country with the most UFO sightings. Especially in the mid-1900s, UFO sightings were seemingly becoming more and more common. But so did sightings of the Dark Watchers. So, is there any correlation here? Well, that is hard to answer. Sightings of dark, shadowy figures are extremely common. Probably the most common claim of a supernatural sighting is that of a dark or shadowy figure. Outside of Renaissance and Cold War era Dark Watchers, there are many similar cases of shadow people throughout history. Take, for example, a sighting back in the 1800s of a similar entity to the Dark Watchers, the indescribable lurker of Llantarnam. Did I pronounce that right? Welsh people, let me know. One late night, a young man named Edward Frank was walking home when he heard something coming towards him. When he faced the sounds, he saw a figure that he described as tall and gloomy, having an appearance that would instill fear into him. Despite this fear, he called out to the entity, telling it to back away before he strikes at it. The entity seemingly followed these orders, vanishing into the night. But unfortunately for Frank, this wasn't exactly the luck he thought it was, as after the entity vanished, he was struck by an intense feeling of panic that overwhelmed him to the point he no longer knew where he was, and began to see two strange objects or creatures that are described as, and I'm quoting from the book by Edmund Jones, two dun-colored things like posts. So yeah, not the best description, but you can see how this is similar to the Dark Watchers of California, a strange dark figure that disappears when approached. You've also likely heard of the Hat Man, another shadowy figure said to wear a rimmed hat, just like the Dark Watchers. Like the indescribable lurker, the Hat Man has been said to instill fear in people who observe him. Now, there haven't been any reports that the Dark Watchers will have this effect on people, but maybe that's because no one has gotten close enough. As I mentioned before, sightings of the Dark Watchers have correlated with UFO sightings in the region. Perhaps these Dark Watchers or shadow people are some extraterrestrial or even extra-dimensional race of creatures that observe human life. And to avoid getting caught, they instill fear in anyone who gets too close. Yeah, that's the best explanation I could come up with. There is no solid idea of how shadow people are secretly aliens. It's more just, what if shadow people are aliens? It's not a very popular belief, but it's definitely something I have seen pop up online. I mean, if we're already saying these shadow people exist, why can't they be aliens? There is also an explanation for the Dark Watchers that involves, you guessed it, optical phenomena! A Brockenspector occurs when an observer is looking down from a ridge into a foggy or misty area, like a mountain range, and the sun shines from behind them, casting a magnified shadow of themselves that may look like a shadow person. There are also possible psychological explanations involving hallucinations caused by exhaustion, loneliness, drugs, whatever it might be. Personally though, I definitely don't think it could be aliens.
Because it's Slender Man.
There are many stories throughout history claiming to have witnessed humanoid entities covered in flames. Sightings of these entities can be dated all the way back to 1125 with the Railbach Burning Man. According to the 3 sources I could find, multiple eyewitnesses, including a man named George Miltenberger, claim to have witnessed an entity resembling a burning man that spewed fire from its nose and mouth roaming around the mountains and hills of Railbach, Germany. The ufologist and author of Humanoid Encounters, Albert S. Rosales, theorizes that this sighting could have been that of an extraterrestrial being wearing luminous clothing and using beams of light that appear like spewing fire. As I said before, according to the 3 sources I found, the sighting took place in Railbach, Freienstein, Germany. The thing is though, this place just doesn't exist. I could not find any evidence of a place called Railbach anywhere in the world, let alone Germany. The only real places I could find resembling this name are the municipality of Freiensteinau, Germany, and the Freienstein-Tufen municipality in Switzerland. If there are any Germans that want to clear this up for me, please do, because the only thing that came up when looking for a place called Railbach was this obscure humanoid sighting, and considering that this account only has 3 sources to it, I don't have that much hope. However, despite this lack of sources, there are actually more stories of flaming humanoids from medieval Germany that could lend a teeny tiny bit more credibility. Take the Burning Man of the Black Forest. Now, there is no date or even year given for this encounter, only that it took place in Baden-Württemberg during the medieval period. The story goes that a flying humanoid was said to have flown around a village before coming to rest on a church steeple. Presumably in a mad panic at the sight of what they would have taken to be a demonic apparition, the townsfolk amassed around the church and started throwing rocks at the creature. After what could be taken to be quite a while, the flying creature finally departed, never to be seen again. Considering this entity's similarity to the Railbach Burning Man in both description and location, comparisons have been made between the two. including the mentions of the theory that this was some extraterrestrial being. Now, unlike the last story of a burning humanoid, this story does not only have 3 sources to it. It has 1. The only source that I could find was this website, which cites 1 book, and holy shit, look at that cover. Yeah, safe to say I did not buy this. After doing a little more research, I actually found that the Burning Man of the Black Forest is canon to the main Marvel Comics universe, Earth 616.
Someone say Marvel?
Shit. What? Alright, are you paying attention now? Nah, I don't care, as long as you have your ad blocker turned off. Now, before I was so rudely interrupted, the Burning Man of the Black Forest is a Marvel character, releasing all the way back in June 1974 in Monsters Unleashed number 7. The book that I mentioned earlier, the one that I didn't buy, was released in 2014. Yeah, so the Marvel character of the same name predates the only source of this creature by 40 years. Yikes. Another little fact is that Marvel's Burning Man was said to have appeared in 1125 AD. Just like the Railbach Burning Man. Oh my god. This all started from a fucking comic book character. God damn it.
I love you too, babe. Keep it cool, babe.
Man, this video was supposed to be about aliens. Listen, it is hard to find possible alien sightings from the medieval and Renaissance eras that don't correlate to some religion or folktale. I will say I did have a lot of fun researching these more niche encounters. I hope y'all enjoyed it too. I like learning about obscure cryptid stuff. I want to thank my members. Y'all's support means so much to me. So sorry for the delay between videos. Next video will be about something fictional this time, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and thanks for letting me waste your time again. Bye.